Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, LaffinBoy here. And this is another episode of Tales from Laffin Land. This one is going to be called The Man in the Trunk 2. Now, it's not a continuation of the original story. It has some things that are in common. But, and this one, I think you could say, it's going to have a little bit of bonus content because I'm going to tell you a little bit of background. Now, well, back around, it was somewhere around in the early 90s. I don't remember when it was. It was shortly after my dad married my stepmom. And we were living outside of, we were living in a little place called, actually, I don't know if I was living there at the time, but they were living in a little place called Nobility, which is basically a gravel road with what used to be some kind of store or something on the at the end of it. I don't know. It was just a brick building that was all, all closed down when I got there, and I've never known what it used to be. Well, anyway, we had a friend. Now, this friend, I'm going to call him Chris. If he's watching this, he'll know that I'm talking about him. This dude was he was crazy. He'd do, well, I don't know about, I'm not saying he was insane. I'm saying that he was, if you dared him to do something, he would attempt to do it anyway. He was definitely a daredevil. This guy, we were driving down the highway once, and we were in two different cars, and we had one car had Dr. Pepper in it, and the other one didn't. And one of the people in the other car asked for a Dr. Pepper, so Chris puts the Dr. Pepper in his pocket, climbs out of the car. Now, we're doing 65, 70 miles an hour down the highway. Chris climbs out of the car, is standing there with 1 foot on one car, 1 foot on the other, holding on to both of them at 65 miles an hour going down the highway. And then he realizes he doesn't have a way to get into the second car because the second car is only a two-door, and and he's got no way of getting around the people that are in the front seats. So he turns around, climbs back into the other car. Yeah. Anyway, that was Chris. That was Chris in a nutshell. So, for some reason, him and my youngest brother, they got this idea. They were, I don't know if they still do this, but used to on the weekends, kids would go cruising. They would go to, whatever town, and go to the nearest town, and there would be some an area. I don't know. They may still do this, but like here in Corsicana, there's a stretch of 7th Street that they would just cruise up and down. They'd go up, turn around in the parking lot, go back down, turn around, come back. And anyway, so. Yeah, and they would meet up with people in different places and whatever. But in the little town where the school was, I forget the name of the town. There was kind of a square, it was in a little park, and and they it's kind of the center of town. So, so what they were doing, they were cruising around, and they got this idea, and Chris got in the trunk, and what they would do is, they would stop, and there was a button in the car to, you push the button, and the trunk popped up. So they would go along, and when they stopped, there'd be a car behind them. Whenever they stopped and there was a car behind them, my brother would pop the trunk, and Chris would jump up and scare people. And they were having fun until, well, until they got pulled over. And I don't know how everybody lived through this, but what happened was they get pulled over, and my brother gets out and goes back to the car. The officer pulls my brother out. Not pulls him out, but gets him out of the car. And he asked, the officer wants to open the trunk and look in the trunk. So my brother gives the officer the key, and the officer opens the trunk. Chris, not knowing what's going on, pops out of the trunk. Scares the officer. The officer, scared, jumps back up onto the hood of the car. Chris realizes what he just did, and he nearly passes out. Because good thing, luckily nobody got shot. So please don't ever try this at home. Anyway, that is the story. That is The Man in the Trunk 2. I thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next time. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Stay safe and stay healthy. LaffinBoy out.